What's up, y'all? I'm just sitting here, laying on the bed, actually. And I'm gonna reveal some stuff that possibly some of you guys might not know about. I say you guys, there's only really one person that watches these videos, and this video is for you. But if somebody else watches it and needs some context, basically, a long, long time ago, about 5 years, give or take, depending on what calendar you're using, in 2014, I was working for this guy, and I'm fairly certain he prefers to remain nameless, so I'm just gonna let him remain nameless. But he was a wealthy guy. He was, a rich guy. Um, and I had been learning some stuff about psychology and whatnot, and I basically I used this like technique on him that like I didn't realize what I was doing, but I made him love me, and it was cool, I guess. It's a lot of fun hanging out with him and just kind of running around in that truck and doing stuff, and to me it was like a really close friendship more than anything. And I'd still like to call him a friend, honestly. I mean, I know it'd be super weird, and his wife would probably be pissed off about it, but yeah, if he ever wanted to hang out again, I definitely would. He was a really cool guy. It taught me a lot. I got a lot of respect for the guy. I mean, despite what he might think, I do. And but he was a wealthy guy, and I don't know how, but I guess I convinced him to start bringing some famous people to the job site for me to talk to them, and I was a real asshole to pretty much all of them, except for one. And that one was Scarlett. Scarlett Johansson from the MCU movies, and let's see, the girl with the pearl earring, Lost in Translation, Lucy, Her, fantastic movie. I just saw that a couple of days ago, and the voice acting was just so good, especially those intimate scenes between Scarlett and Joaquin. Her voice, man, I swear, it's so fucking good. Everything about her is so fucking good. But there was a lot in the works. For those of you who don't know, other planets are real. Reincarnation is real. Telepathy is real. Magic is real. And my soul, before it reincarnated on this planet, was from another planet. I don't know if I should reveal the name of the planet, but it's a pretty dope planet. It's very magical. And don't think of magic as like mystical, magical. It's really just it's electromagnetic fields and gravity fields and stuff like that can be manipulated using consciousness if you're on the right planet with the right fields around it, and so on and so forth. This planet has a little bit of magic. You can do certain stuff on this planet. Believe you me, I've had a lot of it done to me. But But on other planets, if you know, if you want, you could just fly if you wanted to. And you know, on the planet that I came from, everybody flies. Nobody stays on the ground. I used to, just because I would want to ride the magnetic ley lines like right on the surface of the planet. But I was kind of an advanced wizard on that planet. And so anyway, um, the thing is though is that many, many, many lifetimes, many, many reincarnations before I left Earth originally, I was a Roman prefect. I was Pontius Pilate, and if you read the Bible, and there's only so much you can access from a past life that's that old. We're talking 2,000 years Earth time, and time is different depending on where you are in the universe and how massive of an object you're standing on. You know, Einstein proved with his general theory of relativity that space can be bent, and he also proved that space and time are one thing. So the time field around a less massive planet is different than the time field around a more massive planet, because the mass of the planet is distorting space-time. So not only can space be bent, but time can be bent as well. And it can be bent using consciousness, but the most common way that it's bent is a massive object bends the time field. So, for example, time itself is going to pass differently around the sun as it would around the Earth, or around Mars, or around Neptune, because each of these objects have a different mass and they're distorting the time field differently. So 2,000 years Earth time could be any amount of time out in the universe. It really could be. There's no one set timeline out in the universe, and that it's possible to change the timeline. It's possible to erase things from the timeline. You know, it's commonly known as fuckery. That's kind of the technical term for when they do stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of time fuckery that can happen, and a lot of it happened in 2014. If you don't know, go ahead and think back to 2014, and think about all the things that happened during that year. I mean, does it seem like it all happened in 1 year? It didn't, because 2014 lasted for 3 years. And for me, it lasted for 10. I don't know if I was stretching the timeline or somebody else was, but 2014 for me lasted for 10 years. And also for my wealthy friend, and a few other people. But eventually people kind of caught on and moved on, and it was just kind of us in 2014 for a while. Which definitely got weird. But, yeah, anyway. So during this time, of me meeting famous people and being assholes to them, one of the people that came and saw me was, Chris Cornell. And I was totally weird. I was totally an asshole to him. And it sucks because, man, Chris was the kindest, most caring dude that this world has ever known. You know, I mean, short of Jesus Christ. I mean, this dude, you know, he ran a suicide prevention charity. He was a good father. He was a good husband. Totally a class act guy, and everybody that knew him loved him. everybody, bandmates, people he lived around, neighbors, friends, they all loved him. And he was there for a lot of people when they were feeling some type of way, to talk them down. And without him, a lot of people couldn't keep going. And one of those people, another person I was a real asshole to, was Chester Bennington. So, all of you Linkin Park fans, you can blame me for Chester, because it was my fault, both of them, and I can't take that back. I can't, and I wish I could, because Chris sacrificed himself for me to make me remember about all this stuff. You know, he commended his spirit, and there's no taking that back. He will reincarnate. He's waiting for Dave. Him and Kurt are up there, and a couple other guys, and they're just waiting for Dave. And they'll wait. Don't try to go up there early if you're watching this, cause they'll wait for you, and it's, like I said, time's different depending on where you're at. For them, it'll be a blink of an eye, but they're waiting for you. And so anyway, one of the people that I met during that time, when I was spiralizing everybody, was Justin Bieber. And really fucking great guy. I tell you what, man, really fucking class act. Just gives a shit about people, and cares about his fans, and always coming from a place of wanting to add something to their lives, and and Purpose is my favorite album. It is. It's a fantastic album. But we were really good friends, and I got a little weird on him about a month ago. I don't know, dude. I thought I was doing the right thing. Still to this day, I mean, it's hard for me to separate what's telepathy and what's bullshit. And I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. So if I caused some kind of problem for you, between you and your wife, like I'm sorry, bro. I really am. But this is the part that really that I'm really thinking about a lot right now. And that's one of the people that I met was Scarlett. And she is so adorable. Oh my god. It's like every little thing. We talked a lot about being kids and stuff, and like she grew up in New York City, and she had like a really charmed childhood, and like really artsy family, and they were very supportive of her, and she decided really young that she wanted to be an actress, and she didn't want to do bullshit. She wanted to be a big time actress, and she is. And I don't know, like everything she said when we were talking about being kids, the image that came to my mind was in Ender's Game, when Ender is kind of like recovering from battle school and stuff, and they send him to this this like picturesque lakeside home, and he gets to hang out with Valentine for a little while, and it's just very picturesque, very, I don't know, just a Norman Rockwell childhood. And I had a pretty good childhood. I mean, my parents were assholes, but I wasn't hungry very often. And my mother tried to kill me in a hot car once, but I mean, shit like that. But I identified with her, And thing is, though, is you see, when I left this planet, the first time, and you gotta understand, time fields are different. I was gone 2,000 years Earth time, give or take, but I was gone for possibly billions of years on universal time. I know that between the last planet I was on and coming to this planet was a few million years universal time. And but when I left this planet, I was in my astral form, which is like kind of like an armored blue guy. Just picture like kind of like an armored blue guy, and that's like my astral form. Each and every one of us has an astral form that we take on when we leave our physical bodies, and mine's like an armored blue guy. And I met another astral form out in the void, and that astral form, her name, she's only ever reincarnated as a male once, but her name is Mom, MOM, and she began to follow me from planet to planet, lifetime to lifetime, and punish me, essentially. I knew as Pontius that I was sending something very, very special to his death. I didn't know that this man was the son of God, but I knew he was special, and I knew he had a special place in the cosmos, and maybe at some level, as Pontius, I knew that this was the son of God, and that I could have prevented his death, and I didn't. And I guess as Pontius, that really bothered me, because I went through a really, from what I could tell from history, I went through a really violent streak after that. And I think I might have even been friends with Caligula during his, really violent times. I may have been friends with Julius Caesar, which is kind of cool, I guess. But after my death, as Pontius, I decided that I was gonna leave Earth. I think it was like a custom at the time that powerful Romans would go gallivanting across the stars after they died, looking for Mars or Jupiter. Or, we didn't know these were planets at the time, but so that's what I did. And somewhere between Earth and that second planet, I met Mom. And when we're in our astral forms, she wants to be my lover, which is weird because her astral form is not humanoid at all. It's kind of like a cosmic manta ray almost. And every now and then it'll give off like a ooh almost like a whale call. Like I don't know how to describe it. The skin's like gray. But she would want to be out in the void when we were moving from planet to planet, because she would always get me kicked off of the planet. If you don't know, if you piss off magical people, which on this planet is like mediums, psychics, witches, people like that. If you piss them off, they can put a spell on you that, like, when you die, it'll blow your astral form off of the planet, and you'll be too far away. You won't be able to reincarnate there. So you have to either try to go back to the planet or go to another one. Try to find another one. And yeah. So that kind of works into the story. But every planet we would go to, and she would follow me, and like out in the void, she would want to be my lover. But when we would reincarnate into bodies, she always wants to be my mom. So it's like super weird dynamic, like totally abusive, weird, like, and she would get me blown off of every planet that we would go to. I think we went to like 6 or 7 planets out, and in that billion years we were out. And she would always get me blown off of the planet one way or the other. And then she would follow me. She would kill herself in the body she was in, and take her astral form, and then follow me to the next planet and do the same thing. So this went on universal time. We're talking possibly a billion years. It was a long time. And it takes, takes a long time to get from one planet to another, if you're just moving as an astral. And like I said, I was out by choice, but I was out for over a million years the last time I was out. When I was moving from my last planet to this planet, I was out in the void with her for millions of years. And I don't have much memory. On this planet, we're conditioned to think that there's no reincarnation. So, like on a planet where they accept reincarnation, like you can access your past lives pretty easily, you know what I mean? But here, it's pretty hard. And it's even harder to try to access things that happen to you as an astral, because the astral plane is convoluted. But I have 2 memories of being out. 3, really. One of them is I get little flashes of her in her astral form, and just kind of moving it across the void, and then another flash. I found this planet out in the void. It was this planet of, like, picture those aliens from The Simpsons, where they're like brains with tentacles, and that's essentially it was the only living species that lived on that planet. I don't know whether they started off that way, or they terraformed the planet and got rid of all the other life that was there or whatever, but these brain things, part of their survival was they would breathe warm air through tubes, and that's how I guess they kept their body heat or something like that. And originally this planet had been orbiting around a star, but these brain people somehow pissed off, I don't know if you would call it the government of the universe, but they pissed off the whole universe one way or another. They were just assholes. I don't know what was going on with them, but out there, there's a lot more you can do with magic, and so their entire planet was blown away from its solar system and sent out into the void, and of course everyone on the planet died. Um, Many of them died almost immediately, most from suicide, knowing that they were moving away from their star and that they would soon freeze. And a few tried to cling to life for as long as they could, but it's futile. I mean, they were blown, light years away from their star. So there was no hope that they could ever. They didn't have the technology or the magic to move the planet back into place, and they knew they were doomed. And it's pretty gnarly, actually. I mean, they deserved it, but it's still pretty gnarly. And in astral form, it's pretty easy to channel things. Like you can channel memories if you want to. You can like channel them off of the location that it happened. So say you're in your astral form and you're like in the White House, you could channel memories of Abe Lincoln if you wanted to. That's kind of like an example. And so I stayed on that planet for like 500,000 years, and just channeled this one memory of this brain creature that he was sucking on his heat tube, and other brain creatures were trying to get a hit off of the heat tube, and he wouldn't let them. And it wasn't a very long memory at all, maybe like 30 seconds, but I stayed there on that planet, and I channeled that memory for 500,000 years, just over and over and over again, analyzing it and looking at it. Maybe it was some kind of like macabre curiosity, morbid curiosity about death or something like that. And I was dead at the time, so it makes sense. But yeah, not healthy. And the whole time, Mom was like right behind me. Like she shrunk her astral form down to like that big, and then just stayed right behind my head. So no matter which way I turned, I couldn't see her. So I thought she was gone. Maybe that's why I stayed on the planet for so long, is because I thought maybe she would just leave me the hell alone if I stayed there and didn't reincarnate. But eventually I left that planet, and I found 2 or 3 more, but then I found this one, and the only clear memory I have is I'm hanging over Earth. I'm about, I don't know, I'm higher than high Earth orbit at this point. I mean, I'm hanging over the Earth. I can see the entire Earth in my field of view. And I said to myself, this planet has not so much magic. And I knew that if I came here and reincarnated here, that somehow I could be rid of Mom. And so I came. And I reincarnated here, and I was born on this planet on July 23rd, 1991 at Halifax Hospital in Daytona Beach. And I grew up here. And it was pretty cool, I guess. I don't know, I mean, I had 2 very emotionally distant parents, but I guess that's how it goes. And And I knew something about. You see, out there in the universe, people don't really make movies and stuff. I mean, there's really no technology out there. It's really just all magic. So nobody other than on Earth had ever, like, for example, built a camera. Our technology on this Earth, I mean, we think of it as being primitive, but it is super advanced. Just based on the technology that other planets have, because they don't have much technology on other planets. Uh, Mostly none at all, because most other planets have magic, and that's kind of how they do things there. They fly around, they shoot lightning bolts out of their fingertips. Most of them, especially the one I used to live on, they don't even have a concept of money or ownership of anything, because they get everything they need from magic, and it's like a completely classless society. The only class there is how good you are at magic. Their sustenance comes from it. Their reproduction comes from it. They're completely dependent on magic, whereas we're dependent on technology. But we think of our technology as being infantile, and it's not. It's actually super advanced. There's only maybe like one other planet in the entire universe that has more advanced technology than us. And so your cell phone in your pocket is a miracle. I mean, the internet is a friggin' miracle. The closest thing the universe has to the internet is like universal telepathy, which is more of like a hive consciousness than anything. Um, there's not. I mean, there's stuff you can learn from it, but as an Earthling, the internet is much more useful. So, so my astral form knew that coming to this planet would rid me of Mom. And but the thing is Earthbrain, like, Earthbrain doesn't believe in reincarnation, so Earthbrain can't always access the astral form. And even on a magical planet, it's kind of hard to always access your astral form. So the plan only came to me in stages, in instinct. And up until the very end, I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing. I didn't know how I was going to do it. But every single thing happened for specific reasons. And it all had to happen in order, which is why the cycle kind of kept going over and over again, because each and everything had to happen in exactly the right order. But essentially what I did was I pissed off the entire universe. I did some really shady shit. For example, there was a girl who she had killed herself, and she was in the dark place, and I chased her further into it. I think she did eventually go through the light, but I chased her further into the blackness, and for many that was an unforgivable crime. And I don't expect those who know about that to forgive me. But I did what I did. That pissing off the boss, just all of the horrible things I did during that time was because I knew that if I could get enough people from enough planets to put a blast on me, then the combined force of the blast would be enough to push whoever got the blast out of the known universe. I'm fairly certain there were enough blasts on me to push me out to the the 100th magnitude past the point of no return. Essentially, if I hadn't gotten saved by Jesus, and I wasn't going to heaven when I died, and these blasts were still on me, I would be, after I died in this body, I would be pushed so far out of the universe that I wouldn't be able to get back. I wouldn't even, at the 100th magnitude, you wouldn't be able to see the universe. You wouldn't know which direction to go in to try to get back. And even if you did, it would take you trillions of years. What you would become out there in that void would be less than a soul. It would be something else. And to reincarnate after that, you might not even want to. You might just want to stay dead after something like that. And who says you'd ever be able to get back? You wouldn't. You'd be out there, and that would be it. Just out there in the void, in total blackness. So I loaded that fucking cannon, I strapped it to my back, and then promptly forgot about it. All the way up until just a few months ago, everything had happened in exactly the right order. And I cast a spell. I cast a spell to transfer the blasts that were on me, which were numerous, to Mom. And now, unless she decides to lay her pain at the foot of Jesus' cross, then she'll get blasted out there. And I feel kind of bad about that, but at the same time I don't. But understand that that's why the spiralizing happened. I needed to create enough of a negative buzz that the entire universe would cast blast spells on me, so I could transfer them to my mother to get the fuck rid of her. And that's why I did what I did. So there's that. And then also, right now, this is a personal message to Scarlett. I've been trying to get back in touch with you, and I don't fucking know how. I know that I could, send a letter to your agent, but I'm fairly certain he would throw it in the trash. And you know, I've tried getting in touch with you over the internet, but I don't. These profiles, they just kind of. It's like two of them have hit me up and just asked me for money and you know, saying it was for your charity, and then I Googled the name of the charity and I can't find it, and I don't know. I'm doubting that either of those is really you. And I know you got your own thing going on right now, and with Colin, and you know. But I feel like every other guy you've ever been with has seen you as a status symbol. And I don't. I really love you, Scarlett. I really do. And I always did. But I had to mask it because I had to get rid of Mom. The things she did to me to get me to forget about you and Justin and Chris and and Chester, and I mean, they were monsters. And I don't know if you've seen the tape where she changed form, but yeah, that wasn't the only time she did that. And the things that she can become when she really wants to fuck with me, you can't imagine. And so I'm making this video because I love you, and I want to reconnect with you, and I'm not mad if you decide that you want to get married to Colin. I don't care. But I made these huge emotional investments in you and in Justin, and now I want to make it right. You know, I mean, and I love your songs. I do. I love One Whole Hour, and I absolutely love Iguana Bird, and I love you too, and and Bad Dreams, fantastic music, and your movies, and your charity work, and how fucking pretty you are. Like, you got a double beauty mark, because you're double fucking pretty. And you know, I've been reading about you and stuff, and trying to know stuff about you, as much as you can really know about a person from a few Wikipedia articles, and reading about movies that you've made, and stuff like that. But you know, I mean, I know you watch my channel or have watched it, and pretty sure you have my lyrics tattooed on you, or did at one point. And you memorized that whole description for that slowed video I made of trees, but it's slowed and stuff, and I mean, that kind of stuff means a lot to me, that you would take the time to memorize that whole thing, to care about my songs, to give a shit about me. And you know, I mean, you're a movie star, and a rock star, and I'm just some broke guy from Florida. But if you give me the chance, I would dedicate myself to you. I would devote myself to you. And I'm not rich. I'm not even not broke. Like, I'm straight up broke. Like, but you know, I mean, Aladdin was broke, and Jasmine was a princess, and it didn't matter. They didn't care. They loved each other. You know, I don't have a fucking magic carpet, but I love you. And all I want is to just talk to you. I don't know, maybe hear your voice on the phone, something like that. But now you know why I did what I did, and why I made those huge emotional investments in you, and then just kind of ignored you. If I could go back and change it, I would. I mean, you know, maybe you and I could have found a way to to rid myself of mom, and then I wouldn't have to worry about her following me from lifetime to lifetime and reincarnating as my mother and abusing me. Maybe you and I could have figured out a way, but it's all done now, and it's kind of like you said in that interview with I think it was Vanity Fair or something, when you guys announced the Black Widow movie. Um, Things happen when they're supposed to, and I don't know. I mean, if I have to wait, and you waited 5 years for me. I can wait a little while for you, and and I want you to know that you're beautiful and sexy and everything a guy could ever want. So give it to me or give it to fucking Colin. I don't care, but I do care. But I just want you to be happy, and I want to try to undo the hurt that I caused, at least to you. There are some people who I could never undo the hurt, but to you, I might be able to. And nothing would make me happier. Nothing in the whole world would make me happier than to just spend one whole hour with you. And I love you. So I'm gonna get off here, and I have a wedding today. My sister Natalie is getting married to a dude named Zane. Although we really like Zane, and we really appreciate him. And so I will be here, and then I will be in Ormond Beach, and then I will keep trying to find you. So wherever you're at, just know, I mean, I ain't rich, but I love you. Bye.